Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin,
And I'm your co-host, Dean.
and we're here doing another movie review. Dean, I know you've been out for a couple of the movie reviews, mainly because of you going away on vacation. And for anybody
Yes.
who doesn't know, there's going to be maybe half a week lull of some stuff probably not coming out because Dean is taking his second trip ever to the U.S.
Oh man, I can't wait. Do you know what? I struggled to get a. I won't go into detail why, but to get into the US, people could probably use their imagination. I couldn't get in for a while, but yeah, I eventually managed to get myself a visa, and now, well, I mean, now I've got it's a B1 B2 visa, which means I can get in and out freely for the next 5 years. I can stay for 6 months at a time when people on a regular ESTA can only stay for 3. So I've gone from not being able to go to being able to stay for longer than everyone else, which is great.
Hell
But
yeah,
yeah,
man. And you
but yeah,
deserve
no,
it.
yeah, well, I'm making the most of it, man. Hence the second trip in a year. Our first one was to New York in April, and now we're coming back and we're doing something totally different. We're going to Florida for the Halloween season, Halloween Horror Nights,
Hell yeah.
Scream, all that good spooky stuff, man. Done American style, which I've been told the you Americans do it best.
Yeah, and
So
I'm upset though because I wasn't able to manage to secure myself enough funds to go over there because I really wanted to go, but you know what? There's always next year,
there's
and
always
next
next
year,
year.
dude, we have a lot of crazy shit going on
Yeah.
over here with you being over here, um,
Yes.
and
Hopefully, yes.
you'll be hearing all about that later this week since this episode will be dropping on Monday. You'll already
Definitely.
be, I think, probably in States or
In,
on your way
in Florida,
to
man.
being over.
Yeah, I think this time. What we know? What day is it? I don't know what day it is. Oh, I'll
Today
be
is
there.
Tuesday.
I'll be on Mickey Mouse's shoulders this time next week, man. It'll
Yeah,
be,
so that's really really nuts and surreal, especially going to be for you. I'm just going to be sad because I'm like, damn it, Dean's over here in the U.S. and I'm like thousands of miles away.
it's cool.
Fuck.
Well, yeah, dude, you know what? It is that is not a cheap trip either. It is. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm working my butt off so much at the minute because woo, this trip has not worked out cheap at all. But I've never done it. I've never done it. I've never been, and I think if you're going to do it properly. So,
Oh yeah, man.
we're we're not we saw the fast passes and stuff you have to get, and I think, like, friends that we're going with have said you have to get them because otherwise it will ruin your experience. You'll be standing in queues for hours. You won't get to see everything. So we were like, do you know what, you're right, first time we've ever done it, let's just throw a bit more money at it and
Yeah,
do it properly. So yeah, man, it's going to be great. And yeah, looking forward to it.
and I'm excited for you, but that's okay because where I am, I have a lot of other really cool stuff. I mean, I got Salem, so I'll
Oh
be doing a
yeah.
lot of pre Salem Horror Fest stuff for next year, which I'm really excited about. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Today, we're here to talk about a new ScreamBox original called "When the Screaming Starts."
And that's
Um,
not linked to being at Disneyland on a roller coaster.
yeah, yeah. Imagine if they did have like a room or a haunt of this. It would be probably the funniest haunt you'd ever be in.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Well, there's quite a lot of different characters that have all got their own, which we'll go into in a minute. They've all got their own kind of personalities, their own unique personalities. So they could actually all have their own room, couldn't they? That could be themed towards that character.
Yeah. And this is gonna be a little bit of a different review. We kind of did this with the last one we did with Screambox was Pussy Cake. Is that there's not really a lot of stuff on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that. So we're not going to the scores. We're strictly here to talk about how fucking awesome this movie is and why you aren't watching it right now. Um, Dean was lucky enough to get it through a screener. As you guys know, for you in the UK or anywhere else in the world right now, Screambox is just a US only service, but they're hoping, I think they said by the end of the year, early next year, they'll be going out to other countries, and I'm pretty sure UK is going to be probably first on that list. Um,
Please, Screenbox, please. Need you over here. I want to give a big shout out to actually, you mentioned Pussy Cake. Sorry to jump in there quickly, Dustin.
no, you're
Just
good, man.
before we kind of move past it too far. Pussy Cake. shout out to those guys again, because that is an incredible movie, man. Incredible movie. And also big shout out to ScreamBox for hooking us up with all of these, because they are churning out some crazy good shit at the minute, including this one we're talking about in this podcast episode.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
need them in the UK. We need them in the UK. Come on, ScreamBox.
And I
We
mean,
love you.
it's a British horror mockumentary, so you think they would already be there. But for anybody who hasn't listened to the Friday episode, me talking about me in the future now, is that on Friday you would have found out that the 26th of September you'll be able to rent and buy this digitally. I'm pretty sure it's what Ed and Connor said. So you will be able to get it in the UK. You just have to pay a little bit of money, but you know what? They deserve all of it. Fund them so that way they can get even crazier with their next feature stuff. But
Absolutely.
yeah, this movie is a ride. It's a treat. It's really not something I was expecting. Usually when I hear a mockumentary, I think cheesily done, not that great, very hit or miss sometimes. But when the screaming starts, is completely opposite. Everybody who is in this film, that they were throwing their heart and soul into it. And they were a bunch of friends, which you would have learned on Friday as well. And for it being done cheaply without it feeling it being done cheaply is also a bonus to us movie watchers.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't. It doesn't feel cheap. It feels like there's great production value to the movie, man.
Yeah, super polished, and that's really good. Especially for it being an indie film and being an original on a up and coming, I think, big platform. ScreamBox is really that's a good thing, especially for us horror fans and moviegoers, and and like we said before too, ScreamBox is out there, and we have Shudder, but I mean, I've been leaning so much towards ScreamBox lately. There's just something more human to ScreamBox. I feel like with Shudder, it's just such a monster beast now. It's there's so much being like put out, and it's not a bad thing. But ScreamBox, it's just everything is so genuine. They're handpicking these movies from watching them at festivals. Thanks to Cinedigm for being the acquisitions. It's a wonderful time to be a horror fan.
Definitely. And they've got a really good eye for great movies as well. I mean, everything we've seen so far that they've sent us has honestly, genuinely, from the bottom, no, not just saying this, has been really good.
It has been.
You can a lot of the sort of Shudder, and I'm not shitting on Shudder, because Shudder's great, man. But some of their exclusives can be a bit hit or miss. They can be. There's a few things I've put on and I've been like, man, this isn't really for me. Everything that I've seen from ScreamBox, well, granted, it isn't loads, but everything they have sent so far has been really good. Yeah. Really different, really good, really different, really creative, really just great.
Yeah, I agree.
Love that they're showcasing all these really creative, cool filmmakers and collectives, and very good.
So if you are in the US, make sure you guys go get ScreamBox. And another really cool thing that I always talk about, because it is really cool and very different, is that they do a 30-day free trial. No other platform or service does that. It's usually only 7 like 10 days if you're lucky. That's a really good thing, and I'm happy that they're out there for us consumers and movie watchers. But enough talk about ScreamBox. Let's get into the movie that's on ScreamBox when the screaming starts. Dean, I'm gonna let you kind of guide me through your first. I don't know. How did you feel about this movie without really like thinking too much about it? I know you only watched it like once, but just going straight into it, like, what was your expectation?
I didn't know what to expect at all. I knew it was a mockumentary. Like you were saying earlier on, some can be done quite cheesily. I'd heard that it was a kind of serial killer version, not version, but serial killer-esque kind of What We Do in the Shadows. So I
Yeah.
thought, well, and I'm a huge fan of that. So I thought if it's anything like that at all, it's going to be great. So I had good expectations for it to begin with. I was pleasantly surprised when the film started, and I was like, "Is this British? This is British." It's like, "Oh wow, cool, yeah." And, he starts off in somewhere in the British countryside, which I actually learned. Funnily enough, I was watching it. There's a scene at the beginning where the character Norman, who's making the documentary
Yeah.
mockumentary, and I was like, "This looks like Hertfordshire, man," which is where I live. And then after speaking to the guys involved in making the film, they were like, "Yeah, that was a
Yep.
location in Hertfordshire." I was like, "God damn it!" But yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised to learn it was a British film when I started watching it. Um, there was a lot of and it's really well paced. Like, it's right off the bat, it's comical. The characters, you sort of get to know the characters. There's none of it was sort of dragging. It was, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It was
It was
yeah.
great. It's well paced. It's well
It was
paced,
well paced. It was really good. We
and
also learned
it's
from the
brilliant. It definitely keeps you wanting more, and
yeah,
that's one thing I've been really thinking about when I watch films now, is because there's so much out there, right? And you want to make sure that the things that you're picking is that you're using your time wisely,
yeah,
because of the constant content being put out either in the theaters, on streaming services,
yeah,
wherever it may be. So when you're looking through, say like Shutter, right? We'll say, because everybody pretty much has Shutter. We'll say you're going through Shutter and you're really looking at the covers and the names of movies, and
yeah.
sometimes a name doesn't really stand out that well. When you see a movie that says "When the Screaming Starts," to me,
It's a
I
great
want to
title.
watch it. I want to
Yeah,
watch it immediately. So it's like I'm choosing my time wisely with this film. It's only an hour and a half, and it flies by.
yeah.
It's so fast because of the
So that's,
pacing.
that's a great title for a film. I can't believe there's not a film that's already been called that. What a great title as well.
Yeah.
When the
Um,
screaming starts. That's great.
I mean, it fits perfectly too for the type of movie that's doing a mockumentary serial killer follow. It's great. But yeah, the movie is beautifully shot. The scenery is amazing. The acting is beyond. Like, when you think low budget, you think, oh, the acting isn't going to be that great. This movie is not that. It's way above and beyond probably what you're expecting. Everybody is casted perfectly, and after talking to Ed and Connor, they were all friends for the most part.
It's really well written as well. Like, it's really comical. Like, it's some of the jokes are really funny. When they're sort of at the beginning, when you get introduced to Aiden, the
Yeah.
main character, who's the aspiring serial killer. And
Who's played by
there's
Ed.
they're sort of saying and they're sort of saying, oh, this is, Aiden lives here in this house that he's acquired from his grandma since she died, as of supposedly natural causes.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I was just like, brilliant, and there's so many comical little bits and pieces that, I thought it was really, really cleverly written.
Yeah, there's one line that I have here. After we have like the whole like news montage that happens in the beginning of them talking about brutal slayings and murders,
Yeah,
is when we get introduced to Norman, and he's doing like the voiceover, and then it's him looking at the camera and he says, "Because when it comes to murder, someone always ends up killed."
yeah.
It's like so straight to the point, but it's so funny because it's right on the head. It's just great, the delivery and everything. I would have been laughing if I was on set with this. Like, I'm sorry, this is a movie that I wouldn't be able to make it through any scene without laughing.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well that when he rocks up to Aiden, who's the aspiring serial killer Aiden, when he rocks up to his house, and he just appears at the window. He's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
doing this
yeah.
crazy face. That would have got me. He's just kind of like staring through the window, like, really trying to give that like scary serial killer, look
Yeah.
about him. Really trying hard.
Yeah,
But
that one made
as
me
we
laugh
learn,
too.
he is as we learn throughout the film, he is he's not a great serial killer.
No,
He's trying to get other people to do his work for him.
Yeah, I mean, like he essentially what he's trying to do, and what this movie is really trying to do is they're trying to do the whole Manson family dynamic, where Manson was having people go and do all of his killings for him. He was a quote unquote mastermind, way back
Yeah,
in like the 60s and 70s and whatnot. So that's what this movie really is trying to be. But it's also its own thing. It has its own twists and turns and ways of especially foreshadowing. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this.
yeah,
And when you get to the ending, I don't think you're really thinking, wow, so it was really him who is the killer that
yeah,
that we're watching. So it turns it on its head at the end, because you start to realize that you are following this aspiring serial killer, but it's not
who you think
who
it
you
is.
think it is.
Yeah,
I don't want to say anything as of right now,
yeah,
because I'm trying to keep things a little bit spoiler free before we
yeah,
get into that. But yeah, there's just so many good parts to this film.
yeah.
Um, I don't think there's really anything else we can say that's not spoiler. So I think we're gonna,
It's difficult to really deep dive into it without giving away too much, isn't it? I guess.
yeah,
But yeah, just going back to some of the comical. So, like for example, you mentioned the Manson family, and so this character Aiden and his girlfriend
Claire.
Claire.
Yep.
Um, and obviously they're being interviewed throughout, and like their kind of journey into becoming serial killers and all this kind of stuff. And then they tell Norman, who's making the mockumentary, that they're starting a family. And he's like, "Oh, congratulations! You're pregnant. When's it due?" And they're like, "No, no, 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 not that kind of family. Like, like the Manson family.
Yeah,
We're
yeah, yeah,
starting like a cult." He's like,
yeah,
"Oh, right, okay." And then they like hold interviews.
yeah.
They like
So
interview
funny.
people, like all these people coming in for like interviews and stuff. They're interviewing them to see like if they'd potentially make good serial killers. And it's just so funny, man. It's really funny.
Yeah, it
Such a
really
great
is.
idea.
So I think without further ado, what's this? Cut off the spoiler free section. We'll dive right into it. So for anybody who just wants to listen to the spoiler free, we say go watch the fuck out of this. Any way you can, go watch it. Even reach out to ScreamBox. Maybe they'll hook you up and let you see it. Who knows? But yeah, go see it right now, and we're gonna jump into spoilers, because I want to go through this whole film as much as we can. At least pick our certain scenes that we really really like. So Dean, if you have any last words before we jump into that, now's the time.
No, jump on in.
All right, so 3, 2, 1. We
Spoiler
are
alert.
now in spoilers. If you don't want to be here, get the fuck out. Watch the movie and then come back. But yeah, we kind of talked about the whole beginning in the spoiler-free section, because that's fine. It's just the introduction to the movie, and you kind of get used to it. But yeah, as you were talking about the interviews, it is so fucking funny. Like the old guy, like the really really old guy, I think he was really really funny.
Yeah,
And the one girl who they're asking, oh, what do you do? And she's like, oh,
I'm
I'm
an influencer.
yeah, I'm an influencer. I'm just like, oh my,
Obviously.
like of course they have to put that stuff in because of the day and age that
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
here. But the first guy, Mickey,
Oh yeah.
oh my god,
We,
he
we
was
spoke a lot
great.
about him when we were interviewing the guys on last week's show on the interview. We spoke quite a bit about that character, didn't we? And about they said about how great it was to work with that actor and yeah, just how much of a great actor he is and how funny he was on set. But yeah, what a character, man! I know so many people like him as well over here in the UK, which is why I love that character so much.
Oh, there's
I
actually
think
one.
there
Oh, go
should
ahead,
be a
Dean.
Mickey there should be a Mickey spin-off.
Yeah. Oh my god, exactly. That's what they gotta start writing.
Yeah.
Um, there was actually one thing I wanted to backtrack before we go further is the cat Richard that scene made me. I was dying, dude. I was literally on the floor laughing, like because he has like I don't even think it was a real gun. I think it was just like a maybe it was a real gun. I don't know because it killed the cat.
Yeah, yeah,
So it
I
had to
think
have
it
been
was.
right.
I think it was because he's sort of talking about it and he's pointing the gun out the window and he's chatting away and then I think he accidentally squeezes the trigger and he's like, "Oh shit!" He looks down and the
Oh no, Richard.
cat's just been obliterated by the fence. He's like, "Ah."
Yeah, and then you see the lady later on like putting up the sign for Richard, which was also really fucking funny.
Oh, I missed
Um,
that bit. What was that bit?
that was I think right before all the interviews. It's like when she's on the street and she's putting
Oh,
up
I
that
missed that.
sign for Richard. I was like, oh my god.
I missed that bit. Oh, brilliant. Rich
um,
cat.
yeah, that
R.I.P.
was really really
R.I.P.
funny. Oh, and like the attempted murder too with the sound guy, his old his old vocalist when he's like he's like making chloroform and stuff like in his kitchen. He's got like the recipe and how to make chloroform. Oh, it was really really
And then when
funny.
when when he's actually got he goes and he picks him up, doesn't he? And they're sitting in the van. I love it because
Yeah,
basically so the character Aiden he used to play in a band and it was like a death metal, of course, a death metal band because Norwegian death metalers are all serial
yeah,
killers. So I love that nod towards that. Yeah, and they pick him up and he's like, yeah, he's first on my hit list because he broke the band up or what I think it was
yeah. It
something
was because he
along
broke the
those lines.
band up. He's like they broke up. He destroyed my baby, the band.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah. So they go and pick him up, and they've got him in the van, and he's ready to kind of jump on him with a chloroform. But this Luke, his name is this guy,
Yeah,
and it's like he's 1 minute you see they kind of done this kind of mock up video of the band, like a death metal band, and it's so cheesy, it's fucking brilliant. And they've got this like witch on a broomstick with the main character playing a guitar solo sitting on the back of it. That bit was hilarious. But yeah, they go and pick this Luke guy up, and he's just like a regular guy that looks like he works in insurance with like a
yeah,
suit and tie and stuff like that. In his spare time, he's a death metal vocalist, like brilliant. But yeah, he tries to kind of jump on him with chloroform, doesn't he? But he ends up like Luke ends up just beating him up.
poor, poor Aiden. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know why the camera guy didn't help him. They should have helped him. In the
yeah.
meantime, Norman's like driving too, so he's like swerving all over the place. It's so funny.
Of they're like battling in the back. Yeah, he's like the and then you kind of start thinking, yeah, this guy's like the worst aspiring serial killer ever.
Yeah. And then that's when we get the whole start of the family, the interviews. And there's quite a lot of really funny interviews that kind of happen throughout that. And then when they finally land, that one person, Amy, because Claire is also very obsessed with like murder. She takes pictures, who's Aiden's girlfriend,
Yeah,
and she's like always trying to be on top of things. Like she's obsessed with death. And as
yeah.
soon as Amy comes in, their faces are just like,
Wow.
this is it.
This
She's the
is
one.
yeah. This is yeah. She's a real serial killer, and as it transpires, she is.
Yes, and it's funny because we get for everybody who gets put into the family, we get like maybe like a 2 minute like almost introduction of them, in like a documentary style, how you like
Look,
be introduced to who these people are, like their backgrounds.
like a little bit of a backstory, yeah.
Yeah, and we go to like her house, and she's got like the teacher or something like locked up in the closet.
Yeah,
Why are you in
yeah,
here
yeah.
again? Stitches, snitches get stitches.
Yeah, snitches get stitches, yeah. Brilliant.
It's like, okay, get back in there.
I like the character Jack.
Jack
I
is
thought
really
he was quite funny, yeah. And because like his backstory, he's like, yeah, I work in a deli. And they're like, who's your favorite serial killer? He's like, and then I think he's always Albert Fish. Because it's fish,
because of
isn't it?
fish.
It's fish.
It's so
I really like that character, man. He was funny. He was really funny.
yeah.
They were all funny, but yeah, he was a standout one as well for me.
It's funny going to his deli though, and seeing him like talk to people, and they're just like flinging fish at each other and like throwing fish in bags, and they're like, "Do you have any cod?" And they're like, "Yeah," and she's just like three little pieces of
Fish
like
fingers,
fish.
it's like fish fingers, yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, "Are you serious?" Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
Where did
man.
you learn to cook? Wandsworth Prison.
um And then this is the scene that like really got me, was the murder training after the dinner that they have, and like he's out there because Aiden has this like retractable knife, and he's trying to get people to learn how to stab and like immobilize and like cut their throats and whatnot. So everybody's doing it, and he's walking along, and then we get to Jack and Masu, and Jack has got the bag over Masu's head. He's like, "Why won't you die?" And then Aiden's like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!
Yeah.
Like we're not here to kill anybody." He's like, "Oh, I'm just not personal."
So that, yeah, there's a couple of characters we didn't mention actually. So yeah, you've got Masood. He's basically like he doesn't really speak English,
So funny. Oh
and
my
he and
god.
he thought he was in a yoga class. He
Yoga.
was looking for a yoga class. So literally at that point when they're doing the murder training, he's still got no idea what's going on. Like
He has
he's
his
thinking,
yoga mat through like the whole
yeah, he's
movie.
thinking this isn't a yoga class, but he sticks around. Like I think that was again really good writing. The
Yeah.
dialogue between them, and when he says something that's actually quite meaningful for to Aiden, and Aiden just is like, yeah, do you know what I mean? Like they kind of
Yeah. And every time he says something and that Aiden's talking about, he thinks Masu is like agreeing with him because, right, Masu, you're right. And everybody, he's just like, he looks at the camera with that look, and he's just like, what?
yeah, he was a great character. And then you had Victoria and Veronica,
The
who
twins, yeah.
the two twins who look just like the Soska sisters, dead ringers, and they're kind of they're like, yeah, we're into murder and orgies, and
Yeah.
yeah, Aiden's just like, oh, out of interest, how
So,
many people do you need for an orgy?
is three enough?
No,
No,
that would be a
that would be a
threesome.
threesome. Oh, makes sense. It's so funny. It
Yeah.
really is down to the writing on this, and really
Oh,
got to give
brilliant
props to
writing.
Ed and Connor, and also Ed for being pretty much the main character for most of the movie. Then it really shifts on who the
Yeah.
main person is, which is also something I really like. Is that you kind of can't really pinpoint after a certain point of the movie of who they're trying to focus on the most until it snaps, and you're like,
Mm,
oh, okay, so really Aiden was the main character. Well, he was kind of like a facade, a little bit there,
yeah.
but we've actually been following the main character since the very beginning. I think people are catching on what I'm saying. If you've listened to the very beginning of the episode, you know who we're talking about. We'll get there though. We'll
Yeah.
get there. Um, so next thing is Aiden decides to go and rent out an apartment for his family. And then Norman asks Aiden, "So how are you paying for this?" "Oh, my what did he say? His
Grandma's in his inheritance has paid for
inheritance."
the
That's
first
right.
month.
And then he's like, "They're not.
And
No one's
beyond that,
paying
he's
you to
like,
do
well,
this, right?"
yeah, beyond that, we're just gonna kill people.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, makes sense. Okay, so I mean, you're gonna be killing the people who come to take your rent every month. He's gonna, oh, and just have a pile of them in the back. Um, and then I guess it kind of brings us to the first turning point of this film, where it kind of shifts gears a little bit,
Yeah.
is when they're kind of out doing like quote unquote house hunting of a place to go um murder, because they think there's not going to be people there, whatever. They run into an encounter, which I think was from one of the guys in the interview before,
Yeah.
who tries to come take the taxi, and
Yeah.
it's Jack and Amy, and I think someone else is in the back, and Jack is driving, and he's knocking on the door like it's a taxi, and he's like, no, 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 and he like
Yeah. Yeah.
he backs away,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then Amy's like, no, I know a place,
Yeah.
and we find out what that place is
Yeah.
very soon.
Yeah.
um but I think before that we get the whole Aiden speech about me being the mind and you guys being gun, which I thought was also kind of a funny
Yeah.
point too.
Again, really good writing, man.
Really, really good. And this is another one where, because Aiden's like, well, who's really doing the killing? Is it the gun or the bullet? And
Yeah.
then Masu keeps saying the bullet, but obviously he's saying it in his language.
Yeah.
And Aiden says to him, right. And then everybody starts talking again. And then says the bullet. Then he says the bullet in English. And he's like, well, you guys, look what you did. Now you're re- realigning his mind to how you guys are. No, it's the gun that's killing
Yeah,
people. He's like,
yeah.
me, I'm the mind. You are doing it for me. I'm not going out there, but I'm still doing it, but through you guys. And everybody starts getting kind of
Yeah.
upset about that, but it kind of escalates after the first big killing spree. Dean, I'll let you talk about that one for a little bit if you'd like, because this part's really, it's funny, but
Yes.
it's fucking dark.
Yeah, so they
It's
rock
really
up
dark.
and we realize that Amy's obviously like a real delinquent, and yeah, we realize that she takes them to her house,
Yeah.
and they walk in on like a sort of family dinner party that she's not invited to, and it's her dad and I'm guessing her mum and brother and a few other people all sitting around the table and all very well to do. She obviously comes from a very kind of rich background, and they've got like their own house, like not a maid, like a sort of butler, I guess.
Yeah.
Who's also, they get him to sort of sit down and play the piano. But yeah, she's a total castaway, total like, and she's not invited. They don't want her there, and she's basically like, well, she's basically there to massacre them all, pretty
Yeah.
much. She led the whole family to this. She's like, yeah, like you were saying, I know a place where we can go, and then that's kind of where the actual killing starts. There's some pretty
Brutal,
she kind of,
dude.
the dad, she's sitting there and they're having a bit of a face off, and then she grabs hold of the dad's hand and then just kind of puts a fork straight through it and pins his arm to the
Dude,
table. And you're
watching
like,
that, my
whoa.
hand hurt. My
Yeah.
hand hurt.
And then she does this really cool like knife chuck that just kind of that sort of get nails the piano player in the
Oh
head.
yeah, that was funny.
And then it just kind of all breaks out, doesn't it? So the rest of the family all just kind of jump in, and yeah, they basically all start killing, slicing, chopping, stabbing.
Yeah, except for Masu, he tries to save people, but then they throw a bottle at his head.
Yeah.
Like, no, what are you doing?
Masood, man. Oh, he's so funny, that guy. He's still thinking, this isn't a yoga class. What's
No,
going on?
why am I here? No, they're trying to kill you. Come this way. So he's trying
Yeah.
to save them while everybody's killing everybody.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that's where it takes a bit of a dark turn, doesn't it? I mean, you still got the comedy in there, but we now realize that Amy is pretty much, she's a badass. She's an evil. She's a bad cookie.
Yep. And it's
And
also
she, yeah,
funny
go on.
too because Norman is there filming with his crew, but he's not really doing anything. So he's just
But he
there.
thinks he's struck gold. He's like, oh my God, wow, we've got this on tape. They've actually, we've been filming a documentary about an aspiring serial killer, and now they're actually killing people. We've got it. We've got the footage. We've got it,
Yeah, that was that. The whole sequence after that's kind of where it really turns. Like this stuff that happens like after the killing, like Amy goes and kills Jack's best friend Terry, he has like 1,000 nicknames. That's
Yeah,
that's
that's
really
it. So we
funny.
know. So we now know that she's unhinged.
Yeah.
She's an unhinged character, and yeah, she's definitely about to shake shit up within the family.
I mean, you can kind of tell that from first glance, just the way that she's dressed and everything. Like, I'm not trying to like say, oh, someone looks this way, they're unhinged, but just how they
She's
portrayed
got
her the
badass vibe.
very
Yeah,
very first time seeing her on screen, and also with Ed and Claire's reaction to Amy during the interviews.
yeah,
Yeah, you could tell that she's a badass,
yeah,
but she's very dangerous.
yeah.
So yeah, we have like an after party, and Terry gets killed.
That scene's so funny, man. They're like, like Aiden throws them all a party, and then he gives a speech and says, "This is all down to me.
Yeah, this is all
This
for
is all
me.
thanks to me. So let's all thank me." And
Yeah, yeah. And they're like, yeah, nah, we're pretty much done. And
I think when he turns the music off, because they're all kind of bopping away, they're literally having like a proper party with like
yeah.
tunes and dancing around, like party hats and light disco
It's a
lights and
casual day, just
food
casual
and like
party.
that's it, getting drunk and just like all celebrating the fact that they've just gone out and committed this massacre, this murder. And then when he turns the music off and then has this speech, and then Jack kind of is just like turn the music back on. They just want to party.
Yeah.
Just turn the music back on. I love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Me too. It's funny. It's
Great fun. That's a good fun scene. That was one of my favorite scenes, that party scene. I like that.
I love this whole movie, but I really like when it starts getting very dark. That's when I'm just like, ooh, this is good. And it really starts turning that way after Amy has everybody break off from Ed, because everybody realizes like he doesn't do shit. He's not anything, you know.
They
Like,
boycott. Yeah, they all boycott Aiden, don't they? They all
so
go.
yeah, so he's there, and then Norman's like, I'm gonna leave too because like you haven't done anything. Then Amy comes back and steals the footage that Norman is obsessed with. Like, this is mine. I did this.
Yeah.
This is for the documentary. You can't take this from me.
Yeah.
So this is kind of where it turns, and we're now following Norman.
Yeah.
And then as that's happening, they all settle in a different place, and then Aiden, he gets he goes and grabs Mickey. So now that's his new
He's trying to start a new family. Yeah. So he
yeah.
picks up the rejects from the interview, the original
Yes,
interview.
poor
Like
Mickey
anyone he
though.
can.
He's so sweet. It's like, I don't know if I could ever picture him being a serial killer, but hey, if they ever do a spin-off and they want to do it with Mickey, I'd be surprised. But you know, Norman's on his trip right now where he has to go and retrieve his footage. So he still has the camera crew. And then he finds out where they're hiding out, and he decides to break. And this was a really tense sequence. Is when he goes in there. It's the other guy. We never see the camera crew, which I think is kind of smart. But I kind of wish we did see the person behind. But we all know who it was. It was Connor. Connor's one that was really behind the camera. Doing it. But Norman goes into. They must have killed a family or something to get this new place. We don't really know what really happened.
Yeah.
We just know that Amy is here and they saw her leave, and then they go in there to grab the footage. So Norman is going through the house, and it's tense as hell, dude. It's super duper tense.
He's searching for the footage, isn't he? He's trying to be quiet. He doesn't want to get caught because he knows how dangerous they are. They are actual killers now. So he's like, you know, creeping around, hunting around, looking for the footage because he wants this footage.
Yeah.
And then Amy, he goes, he's working it, he finds it, and he's working his way out the door. And as he turns around, of course, Amy's standing there. And you're thinking, you know, shit, this is it. You know, she's gonna kill Norman. But then this is where another twist presents itself, because we find that Norman also has serial killer tendencies.
Yeah, very, very much.
Sticks a big fork straight into Amy's eye.
Oh, yeah. And she didn't even think he was going to do it either. It's like, yeah, come on, do it. And he did it.
Like a proper serial killer, straight in the fucking eye, man.
Yeah.
Take that, bitch. You're like, whoa, hang on a minute. This guy's got that in him.
Yeah. And then Claire shows up too.
So he takes out Amy. Then he takes out Claire. Yeah, sorry, go on, you go, man.
No, I was just gonna say that. So yeah, he does that, and then he runs out to the van. He's got the stuff, but he leaves the camera guy. He's just like, bye.
Just rewind real quick. So before Claire, is this before Claire or after Claire?
This is after, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, because no, he turns around and Claire's all right the way through. Claire is always taking photos because she's obsessed with.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, he does it later, right?
She's obsessed with taking photos of death. That's her kind of thing. So then after Norman's killed Amy, he can hear the clicking of the camera. And obviously he's thinking, shit, this is evidence. But she's obviously obsessed with death. Yeah. So she's thinking he's a hero, but he's thinking, shit, no. Yeah, this is, you know, she's taking photos of me killing someone. Yeah. So then he attacks Claire, and then he kills Claire. So that's his second kill.
He's racking it up, man.
He's racking it up, but then he's thinking he doesn't really want, like he doesn't really want this. He doesn't really want this. So he goes to find Aiden, who's wallowing, you know, because everyone's left him, and he's basically like, right, look, I've killed 2 people. I don't want those kills. You're the trigger.
I'm gonna give them to you as a present.
He
These are
tries to
yours.
offload these kills, like he offers up these kills to Aiden and says, let me just get you on video camera saying that you did it, and then that's evidence you're going to get known as the serial killer and you've achieved what you want to achieve. And
Yeah.
Aiden, at this point Aiden's just like, no, I don't actually want this anymore.
No, I'm good, man. These are yours.
I'm
You
good.
you keep it.
So then fucking Norman kills Aiden as well. You're like,
Yeah.
holy
And
shit, Norman.
it's like the exact way they did it in the murder training too, with the stabbing in the back, stabbing in the front, and slitting the throat. He even like says it back to
Yeah.
Aiden. He's like, "Oh, so I think you told us how to kill somebody, right? You stab them, immobilize them, and then you can do whatever you want. What? Slit their throat,
I
and
didn't pick up
then
on that. I didn't pick up on that. Yeah.
yep, and then slits his throat, and then yeah. So and then
I've
poor
just realised.
Mickey, he's just outside. He's just outside.
Yeah. I've just realised his name as well, Norman.
Norman
Maybe a nod
Bates.
towards Bates. Yeah, I wonder if that. Yeah. We didn't ask that. We didn't ask that one. So then, yeah. So basically, Norman has just basically killed a shitload of people, and he ends up getting arrested and known to the public and the press as the camper van killer.
Yeah.
So it turns out all along he is now the big famous serial killer. And there's that really kind of poignant line where they say, the victims always get forgotten about, but the killers live on, going to.
Yeah, it's something that I think
history.
Aiden was saying earlier in the film too,
Yeah,
because he obviously at the time he wanted to be the person that was well known, but now it was Norman. I really enjoyed that twist.
yeah.
Once it got closer and closer to it, you kind of saw it, but you don't realize that at all.
It's played out really well. It's played out well. It's
Yeah.
played out well. I didn't guess it. I wasn't really kind of looking for anything either. I was just sort of letting the film play out. But they're cool. They were cool little twists, man. They were cool little twists.
The last scene that like really sent me over was when Jack has to rename his deli, and he's got a beard on, and then the cops, I think it's just during all the credits and stuff that's going on, he has to rename his deli, and he doesn't have Terry anymore, and so he thinks that the cops are trying to come and take him away, and the cops come over to his stand, he's got his on. They're like, "Oh, your beard's coming off." He was like, he rips it off and starts running, and they just look at him like, "What? Like, what's going on?" They had no idea like what was going on
I missed
at
that.
all.
Is that in the credits? I missed that bit. I didn't see that.
Oh, it's so funny. You still have one play left, so if you want to watch it again, you can. It's really, really funny. It's just, this film balances everything properly.
Yeah.
So if you want the full extent to this film and get a laugh on, like if you need like a proper laugh, this is a movie that will give it to you while watching a horror movie. This is the perfect example of horror and comedy mixing very, very well. But I think after that we can probably give our final verdicts on this.
Yeah.
Dean, what would you give this out of 10? And anything you want to say about it?
Oh man, I always find it really hard to rate movies. I'm gonna give this.
Man.
I'm gonna give this. Yeah, I think the writing is fantastic. I think the acting's really good. I think it's really well shot. There's some great production values. It was a total DIY project. When after speaking to the guys, they said, they were self-funded, and then it was the help of family and friends. It was all done in-house. It was all like the collective people they went to college with. And, they come up with this, what achievement, I think it's brilliant. And there's no dull moments in the film. It's funny. It's, we've said already, it's well paced, it's really well written, it's really well acted, it's a fun story, it's original, but while still having kind of a lot of nods to other things that we know and love. And it's really entertaining. It's a really entertaining movie. You could stick it on. You could suggest it to someone. Say, "Yeah, man, watch that. You'll enjoy that." And they're going to come back and say, "Yeah, you're right. That's good. I really enjoyed that. It's funny." So yeah, man, I don't know. I'm gonna for all the effort and I really actually can't fault the film and all the the process of them putting it together and everything that went into it. I'm giving it a flat out 10, 10 out of 10.
Oh, I am so happy I'm not alone with that.
I'm giving it a
um,
10 out of 10. I think it deserves a 10 out of 10. I
yeah,
think the
and
effort
the thing
you
is,
can't, you can't fault it.
I'm gonna kind of talk on some of the stuff you were saying. Like, there's nothing really to fault, and the way that I do my rating system, it's a little sporadic. But when it comes to new movies, especially if it's an indie movie, and a movie like this, that it's original while not being original, like you were saying. It has a lot of nods to other films.
Hmm.
Um, I have I have a weird way of rating things like that, and I always go at the fun factor at the very very end because like you've seen so many movies in your lives, and you're always trying to find this thing that ups the ante of something before that you love. Like this movie reminds me a lot of Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. They even said that this movie was really inspired by Creep 2, which was also a very
Hmm.
very good movie. Creep is also really really good. There's a lot of Shaun of the Dead influence in it, and we were saying before What You Do in the Shadows.
Even stuff
Um,
like The Office, like the British version of The Office with David Brent, like the character of Aidan is very for me, and I don't think this was it. I don't think the actor Ed um, intentionally channeled the David Brent isms, but there are definitely some David Brent isms in his mannerisms and just the way he was, just his
yeah.
character. I thought really, yeah. Sorry to jump in
No,
there.
no, you're good. But just like saying all that, and you want something that brings a new light to it. So I have to give it a 10 out of 10 because it's pushing boundaries. It's pushing movies like this further.
Mm.
The mockumentary series, and honestly, this is making me want to watch more mockumentary
Oh
like
yeah, when they're done
movies.
right, when they're done like this had some style to it as well. It wasn't just it just like we're saying, man. It was the whole package. It was well acted, it was well cast, it was well written, it was well shot. It had good production values. It was well paced. It was they said that the editing process was tough because they had to be really kind of strict. But I mean, they've done a good job of that. They haven't kept in any dead wood. They've just it's a solid movie, man. It's an hour and a half. It's not too long. It's great. I think you can't fault it. It's good locations, good set. Just you can't not give it full marks.
It's great, and I want everybody to go and support this. Get on Screenbox, message them if you have to. Wait till the 26th to go and rent it.
May I just quickly add, if you do message them, tell them to hurry up and get Screenbox in the UK as well.
Yes, 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 yes. And tell them that we
Politely,
sent you.
politely. Yeah.
And it's awesome building this relationship with them to watch movies like this. And
Absolutely.
honestly, none of this would be possible without our listeners. With talking with them almost on a daily basis, they're very happy with how our show is going and helping their movies get more attention, and like that means so much to me, and I know to you as well, Dean.
Yeah,
But from
absolutely.
starting this podcast from literally nothing with the shittiest quality audio, the video is still not that great, but I mean the audio is what's really important. From having like nobody listening to having a decent amount, to having a streaming service let us review things early and get screeners,
Yeah.
is it's so mind-blowing of the process and the progress that the show
Yeah.
has made, all due to everybody who supports it.
Hmm.
um Even if it's just listening for 5 minutes, that means it means a lot, and it also means a lot to the people who are making these movies, for Screenbox or just
Mm.
worldwide. It doesn't have to be just Screenbox movie, anything. It means a lot to them too to know that it's shows like this and the community like you guys who are listening that support the things that they're making and giving things a chance and not letting them be dead on arrival like a lot of movies have been lately.
Yeah.
um, so it's an honor and really a pleasure to be part of that process for movies and services, and I'm forever humble and thankful for everybody who listens and supports us. And as always, Dean, I am very, very supportive of you, and I am so blessed and thankful to have you as such an amazing co-host and great
Oh,
friend. I know I
thanks,
say it
man.
every episode. I say it
Likewise, man.
every episode, but it's like it's so
Well,
true.
today, I don't know if anyone's if everyone's listening. Obviously, you can't see. If anyone's watching the video, I haven't sat still at all. I keep twitching and moving. That's because I've got a nerve pain in my neck, which means I can't sit still for 5 minutes. I've also got my window open. There's been planes flying by and animals screeching outside. So if that all comes through,
Eee.
I apologize.
No, I don't think anything has,
But
but I'll
oh,
send Aiden over there and he'll correct your neck real quick.
hell yeah. But yeah, man, no, I love being a part of the show, and I love I love watching it grow, being a part of the growth as well, and making all these friendships, and getting to watch all these really great movies that I would maybe, we don't have ScreamBox here now, so if we hadn't have struck up this relationship with them, I doubt this movie would have passed me by. I might not have heard about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But because of this, because of that, and because of them,
yeah.
I have, and it's great. It's good. And these guys are on my doorstep, man. Especially Connor. He's the director. He's a local chap.
Oh yeah, man.
We're already talking about beers, man. We're already talking about going for beers.
Yeah, that's awesome. Send me
It's
pictures.
all down to you, Screenbox. It's all down to you, Screenbox.
Yeah. There is one thing I do want to say is I do want to apologize for the lack of like new like in theater release movie reviews or anything like that. It's just because Dean and we're really working our asses off for the ScreamBox relationship really. And Dean's also as of this, he's going to be on vacation, and when he gets back, he's going to have the busiest time I think all year. So our schedule might be a little wonky, but we'll still be here and doing everything. But I just want to give a little bit of a shout out, or just I guess I don't know, an exclamation mark on some stuff to let everybody know, like we aren't purposely missing out on these movies. It's just because we are building this relationship, and we want everybody to see these movies and know about them, and not just the ones that are in the theaters. Because yes, the ones that come to theaters they're good, they're great, and a lot of other people can see them and whatnot. But when it comes to movies like this that are going to a streaming platform, especially a platform that's growing, I just think these movies need more eyes on them than the ones in the theaters.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I do want to start reviewing and doing things. I mean, we're going to be doing it when Halloween ends. That's one we're definitely doing for sure, because I don't miss any Halloween movie.
I really want to do Barbarian. I'd love
I
to do
do. I
Barbarian.
want to do that one too. So
I'm hearing some great things about that film.
keep your eyes out. There might be some little nuggets here and there outside of the ScreamBox and or older movie reviews that we're doing, because there's a lot of older movies I still have on my list that we're trying to get through this year. So just bear with us, everybody who's listening or watching, that we are going to be doing more next year when we have I guess we're going to be going through sort of a reformatting of ways for the new year. So there's a lot of really cool stuff to look out for. But that's just a little side note I wanted to put out there for anybody wondering why we're not doing new reviews or anything like that. We are doing new movie reviews. It's just not the big box office in theater and in house movies. We're doing ones that I think need more eyes on them.
Yeah, we'll keep it coming.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll still be here. The interviews are not slowing down anytime soon. I'm gonna have a lot of work cut out for me, Dean, when you're away. We're lining up interviews, man. So
Yeah, there's some things in the pipeline. There's some guests in the pipeline. There's a list of people we can reach out to, man. So yeah, watch this space, everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff in the horizon. But that's pretty much it for this episode. Please go check out When the Screaming Starts if you have ScreamBox. If you don't have ScreamBox, we really, really highly suggest you go follow them on all the socials, even give them a little bit of a message and be like, hey, I see what your platform's doing. I don't have it in our country. Ask them. Say, hey, when will it be coming? Or ask them if you can get a screener. Because after talking to Alex and Brandon, they want everybody to see these films. They want you guys to see it. And they even said, if someone wants to watch something, reach out to them, probably hook you up. And that means a lot for the filmmakers as well. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for supporting the show and supporting all these other films that may have gone under the radar, like you were saying, Dean, because of everything else that's coming out. Also,
Yeah.
with it not being in their country or whatever it may be, we're doing all the hard work for them, I suppose. Trying to get the word out. But it's fun, and I love doing this, and we're not stopping anytime soon.
Definitely, you got it.
But I don't know if you have any closing remarks, Dean. Since you're going to be on vacation, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Oh, nah. No, I'm joking. No, man. No. Yeah, just keep listening, everybody. Keep supporting us, and yeah, we'll just try and we'll keep as much coming as we can.
Yep.
Keep, we love doing this. This is a labor of love,
Yep. And everybody needs to give a huge clap to Dean and a round of applause, because this guy, he works his ass off. He does a ridiculous long day at his actual job, on top of doing Dean of the Dead stuff, on top of doing collaborations, and then the show. So I mean, for him to even find time to come on the show, to do interviews, to do reviews, you all should be blessed as fuck right now.
Oh man,
this man, he works harder than anybody I know. He works harder than me. Okay, I'm just doing the show. Dean's over there doing his hot sauces, his ales, his job, collaborations, music, everything. This man does it all. So yes, this is an appreciation moment for Dean.
Oh, shucks.
So I'm forever grateful.
No, man, thanks. I love being here. It's all good. It's all good. I love it. And you know what? I'd say, if anyone's got any suggestions of anything we can add to the show or anything like that, perhaps write us, let us know.
Yeah, you can always email us or DM us. Our email is the bhopodcast@gmail.
Yeah, man. Any guest suggestions, any movie suggestions, anything really, just reach out and let us know, hey guys, you should cover this, or you should check this out, or anything. Just let's get chatting.
Oh yeah. I'm actually gonna start trying to probably put out some, because on Spotify I can put out questionnaires and stuff like that. I'm probably gonna start doing that, so keep an eye out. If you're listening to this on Spotify, there'll be a little box that you can either write into or you can vote on. So that's something we can start doing as well. So and also,
I think we're gonna do some lives too, right?
Yeah.
I think we're doing some lives.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I would love to do that. So there's a lot of really cool things we want to do. It's just finding the time to do it. But we're gonna get there, guys. Don't worry. We're growing, and we're not going. But we're fine. We're gonna sign off now. We're gonna go. We'll let you go enjoy the rest of your day or whatever. But thank you for taking some time out of your day to come listen to us, even if it's only for a couple of minutes. It means the world to us. So.
If you did only listen to a couple of minutes, you wouldn't be listening to this bit right now, because you would have tapped out already.
But
if you are still listening,
it's
thank you if you are still listening.
It's all good. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.
Bye.